Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the story. And now I'd like to share with you one of the most unique, amazing books I have ever read. No other book has had a story like this one. The title is The Book No One Ever Read. Oh, how awful to be a book filled with important words and no one ever reads you. The story and the pictures are by Cornelia Funk. And Cornelia says she hopes that this book is read a lot. Imagine that a book had feelings like a person, that they could be happy or sad or lonely, and they could talk, and they could think and act just like a person. Well, in this story, the book that no one ever read, Cornelia makes her characters in the book like people, even though they are books in the library. That is called a big word that we've heard before, personification. That means when the author gives the animals or the objects characteristics like people. So let's see what these books do. First of all, there is a book in the library called Maury. That's his kind of person name. And when a book is finished being published and it's ready to go out for people to read, the book cannot wait to be read. It wants to be touched and held and looked at and read. And the book is so excited for that to happen. Sometimes books wait such a long time on the shelves, and it's so long and nobody pays attention to them, they start forgetting about how much fun it is to be read. And that's where our friend Maury finds himself in the library with a bunch of old books that don't care if they are read or not. Maury has been a book for 5 years. Now, that's really pretty young for a book. Most of these books that you see around Maury have been books for much, much longer. They all look sleepy and like they're perfectly happy right on the bookshelf, but not Maury. It's been 5 years, and that's a long time to wait on a shelf. So he just pushes himself forward a few inches, and he just is so bored he wants to get out and see the world. Well, the other books cannot believe that Maury is moving around and making noise and causing a problem. And they begin to tell Maury, oh, you don't want to be read. You really don't want to go home with anybody to take you home and read you. We hear lots of stories. And they told Maury that sometimes books can get torn or get dirty or get sticky or have things spilled on them, and they would never want that to happen to them. Maury says he doesn't care. He wants to be read. That's his purpose, and he is a book. He wants to be read. Finally, somehow, despite the warnings of all the other books, he finds his way down off the shelf, and he's at the top of the stairs in a very quiet part of the library, and he's wanting to get down those stairs and run away so he can be free and have fun and not bored anymore. There are many things lurking out in the world, like this cat with sharp claws. What's going to happen to Maury? Do you think he'll chicken out and go back and get back on the shelf where he'll be safe? Or will he take a chance to be read? I don't know, but I hope things turn out well for him. I can see both sides of that. I can see that if you were a book, You might not want to be torn or sticky or have things spilled on you. But I think it would be awfully sad if your purpose was to be read and bring enjoyment to people and they never read you. Well, it's fun to imagine, isn't it? Even that books have feelings of their own. So check out this book, The Book No One Ever Read, and find out what happens to Maury. Oh, and please don't let your books say that they are bored and they are never read and touched and held. We don't want our books to feel sad and bored like that. We want to keep them busy. Now I'd like to share with you a new Fancy Nancy book that you haven't heard of yet. It's called Fancy Nancy, the Worst Secret Keeper Ever. It's fun to have secrets that are just between you and your friend. Secrets that don't hurt anybody or don't make anybody sad, but sometimes you just like to tell your very best friend things and you don't want everybody else telling them about it. Can you guess in this story who the bad secret keeper might be? Well, here we see Nancy, me, and my best friend Bree, and my little sister, JoJo. You're right. JoJo is the very worst secret keeper. She tells things that she just should wait and let me tell. One day I went home from school and I was so proud of my spelling test, and before I could tell my mom how I did, JoJo tells her, "JoJo, can't you let me surprise and have some secrets for myself?" And then one day, Bree was not feeling well. She was kind of sad. And so I asked her over it. I made her some very special cupcakes. And before I could tell her that they had a special cream filling inside, little loudmouth JoJo blurted it out. Blurted means she just said it right out with no warning and told Bree what was special about my cupcakes. Well, I decided with this problem, there's only one way to solve it. I will not tell my secrets to Bree, or I will tell them to Bree. I will tell them to JoJo ever again. So I decided to tell my secrets to Frenchie, my dog. Since she can't speak English, she can't tell the secret. Do you think that's a good plan? Well, I do. And to see how it turns out, you'll have to look for this book by my best friend Jane O'Connor in the writing world and my other good friend, the illustrator Robin Price Glasser. Be sure to check this out, The Worst Secret Keeper Ever. And before we leave, I want to share with you the very newest and the last Nancy Clancy chapter book. This is book number 8, and Jane O'Connor says that completes her series of the Nancy Clancy books. You see, that's me when I'm older, and the name of this book is Late Breaking News. I work for my school's newspaper, and Bree and I decide that our news is kind of boring, so we want to find some new exciting things to put in our newspaper. Let me show you one picture. You know, in the chapter books, Robin draws the pictures in ink, so they're in black and white. This picture shows me, Nancy Clancy, listening outside the door, the principal's door. Do you think you could find some good news and interesting news by the principal's door? Yes, but maybe that's not a good thing to do, to sneak up and hear things people say and then print them in the newspaper. Do you think I'll get in trouble? Well, you can find out if you read Nancy Clancy Late Breaking News. And remember, if you're not into chapter books yet, maybe your big sister or your older friend could read them and maybe read them to you. These books today all have Fancy Nancy's stamp of approval. But I can't leave without telling you one more thing. I got to go to a school, Country Heights Elementary, and visit with the kindergarten, first grade, and second grade there. It was so much fun. I talked with them about how important it is to be a reader and how powerful one person can be and the way you can use your power that you have inside you for good things. They were so kind and we had such a good time. They made a special sign for me. And here it is. It says CHES. That stands for Country Heights Elementary School, loves Fancy Nancy. And I don't know if you can see, but a lot of people signed it. There's Taylor and Annie and Evie and Mason and Caden and, oh, let's see, Madeline, Noah, Ella, lots of my friends from Country Heights signed this for me. I want to thank them for having me there and for their teachers who invited me. I hope I will get to come to your school someday. I love to visit schools and see what you're learning about. And of course, if I come to your school, I must see your library or your media center because that's my favorite spot. Until next time, keep reading. I hope you can find some new books to read. And don't forget to come back to the book club where we'll have many more exciting adventures to share in Book World. Until next time, au revoir.